Okay.
Hi, aloha family. It's so great to be with you. And I'm so grateful to be here with you, Daniel. I just love you so much. And I'm so grateful to like just share presence with you whenever we get to like tune in like this. I feel like we energetically are playing a lot out in other realms, and all of our councils are like hanging and making stuff. And you're just over on Maui, and then I'm on Big Island here in Hawaii. So we're like holding this cool portal over here. And I really wanted to connect with you today about what you're noticing energetically in, like in terms of our cosmic weather. And, you work with the Arcturian Council and all sorts of other beings, and you're kind of getting this really sweet perspective on our ascension process that's happening. And I guess I want to ask first also, like, how are you feeling energetically and like within your body? I know a lot of us have been getting a lot of updates lately, so I'd love to know how you're feeling and also what you've been noticing.
Well, I just moved into a new house, which was a big deal, and a big move with a family of, my daughters, three cats. I was feeling, a lot of pressure because we had to move. We'd already sold our other house. They were going to build right behind ours. I couldn't work under those conditions. So it was crazy. It was a crazy, crazy experience. Now that we're settling in, I'm starting to feel much better. I changed my sleep schedule right before we moved. So now I go to bed earlier. I get up early. It's great. I'm dreaming a lot and remembering a lot of my dreams. I haven't like changed anything other than living in the new house, but I've been doing a lot of good work, I think, at night, and I'm becoming more aware of that. So everything's going really well, though. I mean, it's still a lot of work being a dad and working like more than 40 hours a week now, which is crazy because I never thought I would do that. But it's just, work is demanding. And I seek balance all the time. And I'm going back to a lot of like the teachers that I enjoyed the most before I started channeling. And that includes Eckhart Tolle and Seth. And I listen to some other stuff too that I'd never listened to before, like Law of One, on Dolores Cannon books, and I'm going to listen to miracles and all this stuff because I just want to. It helps to know where other people are coming from. Like a lot of the things that are out there in the new age right now, you'll see and you'll hear about have their roots in Dolores Cannon's work. I've noticed. And people kind of take like the most sensationalized aspects of her work and focus on that rather than on like the clearing the karma stuff and, the stuff like that they actually have control over. So it's like really important always in the work that I'm doing with the Arcturians really is bringing people back to themselves. Like we all need to sometimes tune out of social media, wherever you're getting your news, whatever websites you're going to look at like what's really going on and all that stuff. Because ultimately, if people aren't paying attention to what's going on inside themselves, and this was like the message from the Arcturians today, then you're missing it. Like you're really not going to enjoy your ascension if you think ascension is about a battle between dark and light. Really not going to have a good time because it's not, the best moments in the Star Wars trilogy is when Luke throws down his sword. And I'm getting goosebumps right now because I get goosebumps every time I think about that scene. He has the opportunity to kill his father, which Star Wars is the battle between dark and light. It's what it is. He says, no, this is not what I do. I'm a Jedi. I don't kill people. And when Obi-Wan does it in the first Star Wars, he looks right at Luke. Luke's watching the scene of Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. He takes his lightsaber, he says, lets himself go and becomes more powerful. And it's like, I'm so filled with goosebumps right now. It's so important. These stories that we have are so important for us to look to realize like, you don't really need to go rooting out evil and squashing it and determining who's good and who's bad, because that has like infiltrated the new age so much, and I'm so tired of it, and I'm so like worn out from hearing people talk about it and feeling like no, that you're really not getting it if that's what you're focusing on. But that's why I feel like my work is so important now, like I never did before. Like I never had any type of spiritual ego about my work, but at least now I feel like what I'm doing is like getting people back to the basics, pointing people back to what they do have control over, what they can focus on and feel, and what really matters in their lives, and not focusing so much on these stories that anyone can create. And if you go on the internet and you create a story and you sound like you are 100% certain that that story is the truth, you can get 1 million followers tomorrow. You know what I mean? And so that's the world we're living in now in the new age. And I feel like we all need to just be like breathing, meditating, doing yoga, connecting with nature, grounding, all the things that have been around for thousands of years in the new age, that have been like the cornerstones and the most aspect. People are just forgetting all of that, because now, especially like when we had all this time to like stay at home, and what do? Go on the internet.
I love it. Yeah, when you're saying that, I hear they're like the now age. It's not the new age, it's the now age. It's now. And anything that is helping you to cultivate presence in this now moment is like where we're called to focus and cultivate our energy. And that is the ascension into higher dimensions, is presence. That's it. And embodiment, not zoning out, not being in the mind, not identifying with stories, not attaching ourselves to these stories and identities and labels. It's like beyond that, and no past, no future. And I love that you mentioned Dolores Cannon. She's definitely a strong guide for me. The first time I read her book, one of her books, The Third Wave of Volunteers, I had this like supernatural experience where I felt like it was really about my journey. It's like, this is about me. I feel like this person is talking to me as a soul, that I came here to volunteer and assist during this ascension, and kind of signed up for a very hard array of lessons early on to remember, to catalyze a fast remembrance and awakening, and so healing. And then I've done a lot of QHHT, quantum healing hypnosis, therapy work over the years. In fact, one of my favorite things to do now even is just kind of as a meditation, is like listen to other people's QHHT sessions. And I've been noticing, actually, it's funny you mentioned that, I've been noticing a lot of higher dimensional information and guidance, like coming into the sessions I've been tuning into, kind of through this like arbitrary person I found on YouTube. I'm like, this person's QHHT sessions are bringing through the Palladians, the Arcturians, like the Lyrans. It's really clear, and it beyond the words that are shared, it's like the frequency that comes in, and it's so healing and affirming to listen to, much like your transmissions of the Arcturian Council. Can't tell you how many times, and I'm sure many people tell you, like, you know, you read something that you translate from them, and it's just so right on with something I was feeling or receiving in my meditation or during a practice. And it's always so simple. It's just like the most simple, clear, practical reminders. Like they're almost so simple, like the parts of us that want to identify with complexity can miss it. Like, that's it? You just want me to breathe? Just want me to feel? Like, what? That's it?
Yeah, that was basically the message today too. It was like, we're just trying to be succinct here, because it's very, very easy for us all to get caught up in our minds and to think about like, what's true, what's not true, you know, what should I believe, what shouldn't I believe? And then as you do that, you can feel yourself like leaving your body, because your head's becoming your center instead of your heart being your center, which is where we need to be in order to be aware of like, okay, well, how is this affecting me? How am I reacting to it? What are my feelings about this? Like, that's what's important, not what I believe about it, not whether I'm on team this or team that, you know?
Yeah, I love what you shared about the Star Wars analogy and just how like prophetic that story is for where we are, where
Yeah.
we've always been, just like duality.
Past, it's the Orion Wars, really. And what already happened, I think, also affects people's beliefs about what will happen. In
Mhm,
fact, I think most of our fears we develop in childhood are coming from our past lives.
mhm,
And so we have these irrational fears, like I had irrational fear of fire, like my house was going to burn down. So obviously that was a past life experience that I was processing. And to this day, I'm still not really comfortable when my wife just lights a candle and like leaves it somewhere,
aw. Oh, yeah, we were talking about that last night at dinner about the witch wound and just these very deep biological imprints, resonance imprints on our DNA. We are transmuting in this life from many generations of being murdered and being in, genocides worldwide through many cultures as men and women who simply saw differently and challenge the status quo and were violently, killed, separated from their family, taken from their home. So many people in this life are really transmuting those karmas, those patterns, those fears around just speaking your truth and yeah, letting go of doubt, letting go of all of the survival programming that had to be learned to protect, just to survive, honestly, to protect yourself from like standing out. But now is the time of, discerning your truth and living that, speaking it, and really less than speaking, I suppose, just being it, like embodying your truth, embodying what you feel, not what you believe, but like what you feel is right in your heart. And it's like I'm finding that the more I reside in that place, the less I have to say. Actually, like I'm less interested in talking and proving. And it's cool what you also mentioned about social media because I felt my relationship shift so much in that field just over this last month. Getting pretty sick for a couple weeks helped to differentiate, like kind of discern more like where I really want to focus my energy, and just yeah, tuning out of that the echo chambers that were so conditioned to orient in that like feel safe when it's like, oh, we know where we are and we can orient based on what other people are agreeing with and believing in. But it's so much distraction and manipulation and again, like you said, keeping us in this intellectual, very like disassociated realm, disconnected from our heart, which is where we're supposed to be right now. Hmm. Yeah. I'd love to ask you if you feel open to it. I feel like that opening is here to tune in with the Arcturians or really with any council that you'd love to kind of bring through to share.
Let
Yeah.
them decide who wants to come through.
Yeah. Yeah. And to share like, just to share any, what's the question we want to explore right now? Guidance about I just keep hearing about supporting the body. So many in this ascension process now are really experiencing very profound updates with our physicality and receiving so much information, processing so much light, and our bodies are really changing. Our cellular structures changing, light body coming online more, and there can be a lot of different resistances to this process that have various symptoms and whatnot. So I'm curious to know guidance about supporting the body and this light body integration underway, and then also any insight about kind of the period now between the end of the year and just like cosmic weather events and anything to be mindful of. That
Okay.
sounds fun. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. We are here for you. We are the creators. We're our 12th dimensional collective of non-physical beings, and we are here to. We are very happy to address your questions about the physical body and how it is serving you to pay closer attention to your physical body, which is one of your primary creations. So you are creating your reality outside of you. You are creating your body and you are creating your state of being in your body simultaneously. When you look outside of yourself at this or that, and you think it has more to do with what they are doing and what they are saying, rather than what you are vibrating and creating, you tend to feel disempowered. When you pay attention to what's going on in your own physical body, you can still blame someone else for it. You can say, well, it must be some sort of psychic attack. It must be some sort of weapon that's being aimed at me right now. It must be an implant. It must be this. It must be that. Rather than looking at your body as a reflection of your overall consciousness, which is what it is. Your consciousness creates your physical body. Now, that being said, you can still have these hiccups in the physical body that are not a punishment. They are not there to slap you on the wrist for not being a better conscious creator, but they are there to alert you of something. A lot of times you will find that the physical body is telling you to slow down, to be more present, to go within, to feel your feelings. And when you do that, you take care of your body much more so than you do by going to a doctor or a naturopath or taking supplements or herbs, all of which can support you in your healing process, as long as you are doing so from that place of knowing that this is just support for the work that I am doing right now on myself, some of which is past life trauma that I'm clearing, some of which is ascension symptoms that I just have to do my best to make myself comfortable amidst, and some of which is to make you aware of what you've been focusing on. So if you've been focusing too much outside of yourself, your body will try to get your attention as well and get you to ground more in it by giving you a reason to pay more attention to your physical body. And yes, also your bodies are, as you said, transforming, becoming lighter versions of themselves. And that is a transition that can be hard on the physical form that you currently have.
Mm. Hi, creators. Can I ask another question about like how it feels like access has never been more open in terms of humanity's ability to communicate with our multidimensional councils, with our guides, with our higher aspects, with our versions of us that are existing in other dimensions. And what is your guidance about this availability of access for those who wish to cultivate more guidance and more of a connection with their councils, with their teams, with their higher selves? What do you have to say about that?
Well, first of all, we would like to acknowledge those who have come before, all of you, like Dolores Cannon,
Mm-hmm.
to blaze the trail, to make it possible for the average person to feel as though they do have a portal within themselves or an ability to connect to higher consciousness. And so that's part of what made it easier for all of you today to have these types of experiences like what you're experiencing right now with this channel.
Mm.
It is something that was inevitable as a part of your ascension experience, as well as you gain more clarity through connection, through vibrating at a higher frequency. You all of a sudden have access to higher dimensional energies, thoughts, information, downloads, and of course, all the activations, all the upgrades that you need in order to channel or in order to do healing work or to just have a clear cognizant knowing of what you need to know, you need to say to someone else, to have that open third eye, that psychic and intuitive ability that you do want to share with others. All of that comes from operating in a higher frequency range, which you do as you awaken, as you meditate, as you connect within and connect with Mother Nature and Mother Earth.
Mm. Do you have any guidance about what any cosmic events or ascension events or just energy for the rest of this year? Any energetic guidance for any, all of us to pay attention to, ways we can really support ourselves, anything to be extra mindful of?
Well, as you come to the end of 2021, you really want to reflect on the past couple of years and how you have, as an individual, been responding to the pandemic, and whether you've been feeling more restricted, more limited, more of a victim of something outside of yourself, and what types of energies have come up for you as the individual, because as a society, certainly you co-created this for a reason. And the reason was to show all of you how you've been feeling, whether awake or asleep. People have been feeling very limited and constricted in their movements even. It's hard to travel. It's been hard to travel for a long time with passports and visas and other restrictions that are placed upon you as people who want more freedom. It's hard to go to a job that you don't enjoy just to be able to survive and feed yourself and have a roof over your head. And so that feeling also contributed to it, that feeling of, I'm not really free. I do feel like I'm a slave to these banks and the debts that I have and my employer, who might be a corporation. And so all of that's getting magnified within the collective consciousness, as well as those of you who are awake and who have been feeling like You're fifth dimensional now, you're ready to ascend now. Why do you have to wait? Why do you have to continue to experience the limitations of the third and fourth dimensions? And so collectively, you create this experience to show you what you've actually been feeling inside for quite some time. And that's what the limitations and restrictions are about. They're not about you being victims. And so, or you realize that you have the ability to break free from your own thoughts and beliefs, no matter what they have been, that have been confining you to a smaller space than you want to be thriving in. That's something to examine as you come closer and closer to the next solstice, which of course people are going to be talking about, making predictions about. You'll hear predictions about the event, a solar flash, the shift being completed, all of that. But pay more attention to what is inside of you that's still coming up, because anything that does need to come up to be released will in these next couple of months leading up to the solstice.
Thank you. Yeah, that feels complete. I feel very complete with all that guidance. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. We are the creators and we love you very much. Hi.
Nice little energy blast. I love that. I was feeling some cool telepathic connection as you were receiving. I was hearing before you were translating, which felt really fun. And I love that frequency.
Was the toning garbled at all or cut off by the sound?
Probably, yeah. I mean, I feel when you do, or when any of us do like light language or encoded tones, and the technology doesn't necessarily conduct it accurately.
With
Yeah.
the original audio, but I couldn't do it. So
Oh, yeah.
For you, remember? But I've learned from me, I make my videos now on Zoom, and I've learned that like I have to have the original sound on, otherwise the toning doesn't sound right. But
yeah,
what are you gonna do?
Yeah, our technology that we have built in this dimension doesn't really, it's not very equipped to handle the like higher octave energy that we can bring through with our body technology, with our voice, and with the energy that we're emitting. It can fry all kinds of things too, which is always fun. I'd love to ask you, like, just in that beautiful demonstration of your channeling, are you like kind of in a trance space, or are you're kind of conscious of what's being said and you hear it and then translate it, or what's the experience like for you?
Question. First of all, I don't make the movements and sounds, they happen to me. So as soon as I'm ready to channel, I open up, then usually one arm goes up and the yeses started. You heard that right away. The toning starts and I just let it all happen. And then they always come through with the same little like introduction of themselves. And then that moment on, it's like I have an awareness, like I had an awareness because you asked questions before. If I didn't know what the channeling was going to be about, then I'd be as surprised as everybody else as to what's coming through. Although usually once it starts, once the momentum gets started and starts to go in a certain direction, then I start to know like, okay, what the middle and end will be as well. I definitely don't hear things in my head. I've only experienced that a few times in my whole life. My channeling is much more feeling based, clairaudient. I do get images though. So I'll be channeling for someone, they'll be asking something, I'll see the past life that they need to know about before I speak for whoever I'm channeling for about it.
Oh, cool. I love hearing about that experience. It's like, that's a huge part of my work, and doing the Akashic Records facilitator training, and just in my sessions I share with people. And it's one of my favorite ways to play with others, is just to learn like how you see these different dimensional like spectrums of information, and we just have so many awesome capacities to receive and see beyond our physical senses, you know, and so much is opening up now, as you know, with the energy we've been receiving all year. I've had so many new like new perceptions and new sensation capacities come online, and just like a whole new degree of my like empathic or teleempathic abilities. It's like super refined and like way higher volume, and a lot more clairvoyance, and but kind of just comes through as an immediate knowing, but sometimes with a picture as well, and just so much more precision. It's a lot of fun. Been having a lot of fun, and yeah, so you know, and that was really the inspiration for inviting you. Actually, I'd love to share that. You know, I saw your image come through a couple months ago, and it was along with this instruction to begin forming this field, this council, this entourage. An entourage kind of has multiple meanings. It was like this feeling of a spiritual entourage. Like we all, each and every one of us, has an entourage of guides, of support, of angels, of whatever realm we're kind of most uniquely connected to. I found that all the people I've ever worked with, like everyone kind of has a strong connection with a certain realm, and some may have multiple like refined resonances within certain realms, like with the Pleiadians or the, you know, angelics or elementals or inner earth beings, or just so many infinite beings. But we all have this like huge entourage, like a stadium, it feels like, of support. Energetically, it can feel like that, like just immense beings just blasting you with love and guidance. And they're like, why don't you ever ask us for help? Like, you guys make it so hard down there. Like, you have all of us waiting here wanting to help you, and you never ask, and we can't intervene without you asking. And so this field we're starting to anchor, called Entourage, is very much about turning on more of our perceptions to orient and transmit information within different dimensions, and to bring in higher dimensional light, energy, healing into this body, into earth, and to really be these portals that we are, right, of heaven into earth through our heart. So doing a lot of practice around presence, and exploring ways to really come into more presence and authenticity in our ascension process. And so you were a very core part of that vision forming, and then you'll be collaborating with us in the council as we kind of all tune in together with well, whatever will be happening in December, which is a different lifetime away. And it was really fun to have a little taste of that, just to feel the energy, you know, to kind of have a support. Sometimes people can be afraid of allowing themselves to experience the higher dimensional energy and healing that's available. It can feel overwhelming. It can feel like the system is being fried, like the nervous system's getting short-circuited if the body hasn't been developed to process the energy efficiently. And it can also be very confronting of like just feeling one's true power. This can be terrifying for people who have been so cut off and repressed in their power. It can feel can bring up so much to really feel like, wow, I'm capable of this much love, or receiving this much support, or having this much access. So these are some of the other themes we'll be playing in. And yeah, so I guess I just wanted to share that, and thank you for your inspiration and that co-creation. And yeah, and also like, we're kind of nearing our end of our time. Is there any invitation that you have around, you know, I know you do so many sessions and offerings, your website's like this incredible portal of awesome things to explore. Everyone can go check that out. But do you have any programs or offerings that you'd like to share about?
I do right now have two coming up: Accessing and Developing Your Spiritual Gifts, which is a 3-week course starting in November. And then a standalone class for beginners for channeling is also in November. So if you go to my website and go to the events tab, you'll find them.
Wow. something about November, right? Like that was my strong directive, was like November, December, January, February. Like there must be this council forming to really, this like a mission. It's like a little ascension project really we're doing, is to, anchor in certain energies during this time to support, planetary grids, anchoring higher dimensional light, and really just doing our own personal sovereignty work and healing. But I think a lot of people are getting this message of like, wow, November's the time, y'all, to really like dive into our spiritual gifts and practice our intuitive healing abilities and like step into facilitation, if that's what we're really, called to do. You spoke about, people not being happy in their jobs, and even the media is covering these like mass exoduses happening of people just quitting their
Yeah.
jobs in droves, and just, like kind of the underlying feeling is like, what's life really about? Like, why am
Yeah.
I really here? I'm not here to just like slave away. And like, what are my actual gifts that I'm here to actualize and share? And many of us, I think all humans are here to share really unique spiritual gifts and abilities. And we're all healers. We all are, every single person, in a different way. So I love that you're supporting people with that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to share? Just feeling complete?
I feel complete.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Daniel. It's so fun to just connect in with you, and such an honor to share with you. Thank you so much for making the space today. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. I'm glad I could fit you in.
Totally. Oh, and have a beautiful, beautiful day. And thank you everybody for listening and just sharing in this beautiful energy we cultivated today, and hopefully take with you a reminder to really tune in to your own heart and your own energy current and your own truth, and feel that, let that guide you step by step.
Yeah.
Aw, awesome. Thanks everybody. Love you lots and see you later. Aw.